An amazing training site, the Netherlands' favorite diving object, and a nearly 120-year-old shipwreck in today's episode on the Dive SAGA channel. I'm on the high-speed train to Amsterdam to meet up with PADI course director and dive store owner Berdy Boeve. Berdy has invited me to show what he thinks is the best training site in all of the Netherlands.
It couldn't look more like the Netherlands if we tried. We are here at Scuba Connections in Naarden, that's close to Amsterdam, and the owner and PADI course director Berdy is going to take us on a sweet morning dive to what is known as the most popular dive site in all of the Netherlands.
And that dive site is a freshwater lake called Vinkeveen. Among a variety of bass and pike, this dive site is supposed to house a nearly 120-year-old shipwreck, so a closer inspection by yours truly is in order.
Berdy,
yes sir.
Why is this the most popular or one of the most popular dive sites in the Netherlands?
First of all, because I am here on a frequently basis. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Second of all, it has like the perfect logistics for any type of course you want to do. And furthermore, it's full of nice objects. Some of them are just artificially placed here just to make sure that there is something to see next to the general marine life here.
So guys, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, that's still a little bit nippy, but that's okay. Dry suit dive for sure, and dive time probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, we'll see. Let's go.
I'm wearing my Scuba Pro EverTech dry suit and K2 undergarments. Probably overkill, but nice and warm for a long dive along all of the dive site's highlights. I'm shooting on my Panasonic GH5 DSLR, and I'm bringing along the Insta360 camera for some extended tests in its underwater housing. When displaying Insta360 footage, I'll put a small notification in the top right corner on the screen for those of you who are interested in seeing its underwater low-light performance. Immediately upon entry, we see some bass. Both freshwater and marine bass exist, but this is a freshwater lake, so these are freshwater bass. I follow dive guide Berdy to our first destination with a promising name, Het Snoekenbos, which translates to Pike Forest. But before we get to Pike Forest, Berdy takes us through a swim-through. Old metal pipes are scattered across the substrate and make for perfect buoyancy training grounds. An old sunken rowboat welcomes us to Pike Forest. This artificial forest of sticks and branches is known to attract small schools of pike. Unfortunately, nobody's home at Pike Forest today. It may just be a little too early in the year still. Who knows, we may still see a pike or two later on in the dive. The visibility isn't the greatest and we're getting a little deeper, so I switch on my video lights. Berdy is taking us to the Havik, or the Hawk. Clearly a recent wreck, judging by the limited algae growth. It was sank less than a year ago, on May 18, 2022, and it's the latest addition to the Vinkeveen dive site. Wreck diving has always been one of my favorite activities, and while I can't wait to get to our 120-year-old shipwreck later on, a super fresh wreck is also quite unique. It's rare to have an opportunity to dive a wreck in near mint condition. Well, near mint apart from the fact that it's lying on the bottom of a lake, of course. It's a clean wreck with a simple layout, so I decide to switch on the 360 camera and take everyone on an immersive swim through. Let me know what you think below in the comments. Next stop is the Netherlands' most iconic diving object. For whatever reason, in all my research, this sunken bus keeps popping up as a must visit. Since the bus is on our route, I figured it deserves an inspection. I can see why this safe-to-dive object is ideal to get new divers excited about the wonders of wreck diving without taking significant risk. We approach our last stop. The wooden boards of our final wreck become apparent in the milky water. But before I can properly put my attention on the wreck, a pike pops up out of nowhere. We were unlucky at Pike Forest, so having a beautiful pike in front of the lens right now is awesome. This mysterious wreck is called the Narwal. It's fascinating to me because it's almost 120 years old. That means as a fishing boat, it's lived through 2 world wars, moved from shipyard to shipyard after being decommissioned, and finally found its final resting place here, for all to forget how it even ended up here in the first place. I found an interesting little book about it by local diver and explorer Hans van der Weijden, who also created this 3D model of the narwhal using photogrammetry. Part of the fun in wreck diving is definitely being able to dive into a wreck's history. For being nearly 120 years old, this wreck is definitely still in reasonable shape. After investigating the narwhal, it's time for our ascent. Vinkeveen left me pleasantly surprised, and the divers in the region are very lucky to have such a diverse dive site with so much variety at their doorstep. I will definitely be back. Before we finish, I also want to extend a thank you to Berdi and Olga from Scuba Connection in Naarden. They run a tight and professional operation, and I'm very grateful for today's amazing dive. Now all that's left to do is dry out my dive equipment over the Dutch canals. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.